Please note that the content of this episode has explicit language and is not suitable for underage listeners. Hi, I'm CJ, and I've done phone sex for 24 years. Let's get started. I want to thank you all for listening to Secrets from a Phone Sex Queen, everything you always wanted to know about phone sex and more. And please don't forget to reach out to me with your questions, comments, whatever you've got to say at phonesexqueen1@gmail.com. If you're listening on YouTube, please do not forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell to receive notifications on when new podcasts are dropped. Hi! I think I've mentioned this before. I think I've mentioned a lot of these things before. I try not to repeat myself, but sometimes I can't help it. And I think this guy deserves another mention and maybe a little more detail. So forgive me, like I said, if I've said this before. I have a caller who calls every couple months or so. And I often tell you that callers fall for me. In a broader term, that callers fall for phone sex operators, phone actresses, or whatever we're called. It happens quite often, and most of the time it's truly not reciprocated. It's part of our job to remain as an actress. You know, we can fake a lot of things, and we do. But let me just say that we're not robots. And I will speak for myself, of course. I'm not a robot. I can stay detached very easily because I've been doing this for so long now. Having said that, and not being a robot, there is, on the rare occasion, that's somebody that will slip in and kind of tug at me. I've heard stories, whether they're true or not, where women meet men and do have relationships. At least that's what some men have told me, but that's not me. So what does not being a robot mean? Again, I can only speak for myself and say that I've told you in the past that with the right voice, with the right this, with the right that, I can get off. But it doesn't happen frequently, and it's super infrequent. But I'm not talking about the get off part. I'm talking about the right voice and temperament and personality that comes through the phone, where I question whether I would really like to meet them or not. Again, you might be scratching your head wondering what the hell I'm talking about. So I will tell you again that I have this caller who calls, like I said, every 2 months, maybe it's 3 months, something like that. And he has a fabulous voice. And what comes through the phone is this really intelligent, mature man with a wild type A personality, who I've also mentioned to you. He pretty much breaks my voice because he has me doing all sorts of contortion things. Put your hand here, put your arm there, put your hand here, do this, rub that. And he wants me to orgasm many, many, many times in an evening, which would require me to strain my voice a bit. Now, none of all the sexual things excite me, so I haven't played with myself when I talk to him, and I don't do anything he tells me to do. He thinks I do, but I don't. But what I do think about is this would be the type of man in my real life that I would want. At least I think I would. I love his voice. I like what he's saying to me. I like the type A kind of dominant type of personality in the bedroom. So when I speak to him, I enjoy myself. Now, the last time I spoke to him, he said something. Again, I'm not a robot, and I'm sorry for repeating that, but I'm not. I'm human. And what he said was that, he'll say things to me like, you're incredible, you're amazing, and I'm very Teflon. When it comes to that, it doesn't stick. It's sweet, it's nice, but they're just words. And I say thank you, and oh my God, whatever. But he said something to the effect of that he talks to other women, and he was talking about these other couple of women that he speaks to. My regulars, I know intellectually, do talk to other women. I'm not on all the time, so if they have a need and I'm not there, of course they're talking to someone else. But when he said it, I kind of made a joke and I said, oh, I thought I was the only one. Ha ha ha. And he chuckled and he didn't say no. He didn't say yes. I said, I get it. And for a moment, I was deflated. I had this notion that I was the only one that he spoke with. And I felt so special. And reality hit and I went, come on, you're not the only one he speaks to. You're not the only one that's special to him. And I got a little deflated. Like I said, he doesn't know that, but I did. I think it was more my ego than about liking him because I know I'm not meeting him. But I wanted to be the special one and the one that he enjoyed talking to and nobody else. That's kind of like a competition thing. Even though my nature is not competitive, I guess it's an ego thing where I could be the best one of all of them and he's finally figured that out and I'm the only one he would want to talk to. But that's not so. So it's interesting what the ego will do, or whatever the word is. I think it's ego, because I got a little bummed out. I wanted to be the woman that was different, and I don't always get him off because he's all about pleasing. But when I do, it's quite satisfying. I wanted to share that with you a little bit, that I always talk about, men saying that they love me or like me or whatever, and I just have to play the game. But when it's on the other side, I don't love this man. I don't know him, but I really like when he calls me, even though he puts me through my paces. And I think I'm going to pass out. It would be fun to meet him, but in my brain, in my logical brain, I'm saying, you'll never meet him. You can't meet him. And what are you thinking? And then, of course, reality hits in, and I'm like, yeah, I can only enjoy him on the phone. I found out he was single, he has a company, and he's fooling around with someone at his company. And I enjoy all of that knowledge. It's very interesting. When I date and I hear a voice on the phone before I meet someone, I'm very cautious, because I learned a long time ago that good voices usually don't come with attractive people. I know. Don't get upset with me. That's just been my experience. So I'm thinking this guy has a magnificent voice, and not that it's about looks, but if I were to see a picture of him, it may not match the voice. And I would never ask for a picture, because I don't want to ruin the fantasy that I have. And really, to be truthful, I've never even thought about what he would look like. I just think that it's fabulous. He's got a fabulous voice, tone, the way he talks, everything. Anyway, enough about that. So I just wanted you to know that on occasion, some callers do sneak in and grab you. And unfortunately, he isn't a regular. He's an irregular. I guess I'll call him an irregular, because he does call, but it's not like every week or every other week. And the other thing is that I could never meet anyone unless I told them the truth, right? I don't look like that. I'm not that age. So that always is in my brain. Even if I have a thought that, I would love to meet him sometime, it would never happen. I would have to take him off the platform. I would have to talk to him, tell him about myself, tell him all about me. And then he would have to decide at that point if he'd want to meet me. And I wouldn't do that. So, yeah, anyway, there you go. So I had a caller who wanted to have a call, obviously, and he wanted me to call him son. Now, this isn't the first time this has happened, but if you're on the phone and a caller wants you to make sounds like you're sucking him, that's fine. But how can you speak and suck at the same time? So here I am, he wants me to suck him. And then he says, call me son. And I have to pull out. Or, I try really hard to be as realistic as possible, even in a fantasy. And yet there are times when the caller makes it a little difficult, because they want me to do something that's not reality based, that you can't do in reality. Like, you can move the cock aside or pull it out and put it back in. I just think about these things, and I think sometimes I'm just too reality based, and I have to just do what they want me to do. So I found that to be interesting and a little bit challenging for my brain, because I'm like, how do I call him son and suck on him at the same time? But I did it. I made him very happy, so that was good. Another satisfied customer. I had a new caller the other day, and I thought things were going very well. He wanted me to tell him what I wanted. He was getting in bed, so I usually say the same thing. If a guy is in bed and he's not leading the conversation, I'll say, well, what are you wearing? And whatever they're wearing, I will wear too. And in this particular case, he was wearing nothing. So I'm slipping into bed next to him, and I'm not wearing anything, and I'm pressing up against him, flesh to flesh. And that usually gets somebody talking. Nope, not him. So again, I have what's in my head, what a man likes. I'm kissing him, I'm stroking him, I get between his legs, and now I'm sucking him. And this one wants to start asking me questions. Is it big enough? Yes. Is it hard enough? Yes. Are you enjoying yourself? Yes. I don't want to be asked all these questions. I want to get down to the deed and let's do it. I repeat myself over and over. It's not about me. It's about them. So if he wants to ask me a whole bunch of questions, be my guest. But I think, again, in my head, if you're asking a bunch of questions and not going with the act of whatever it is I'm doing to you, that it's taking you out of the fantasy and mostly in your head. If you're asking me questions, how could you possibly enjoy the feeling of what is going on? Can anyone explain that to me? So he stopped with the questions after a while, and then he started up again. Am I satisfying you? Is there something else you want? And the answers are all, yes, you're satisfying me, but no, there's nothing else I want. If this is what you want, to ask me questions, okay. But are you really enjoying yourself? Really? It's hard to tell. Fortunately enough, he was enjoying himself because he did get off. Yay! He might even call again. Yay! But sometimes these calls are really challenging because I just want to please you and have you hang up the phone. To be honest, it doesn't need to be a 30-minute call. I don't need to drag it out. Sometimes I want to, sometimes I don't. I know time is precious. I know money is precious. I know it's all precious. And if you want to drag it out, that's on you. I just want to get you off and get you on your way. But with the new callers I've had lately, it's really nice that they say that I sound real and genuine and truthful. Those words always make me feel good because that just shows I'm a really good liar. I'm not a good liar. I'm a good phone sex actress. So I guess that makes me a liar. I don't really lie that much, just really mostly about my looks, and everything else, not too much. In the last podcasts and in a few, I've told you about men who love me, Well, my 75-year-old man called me. It's been a while, and he always tells me he loves me. I told you that. And it breaks my heart. I told you that. And I tell him how sweet he is, and I ask him about his trips, and hopefully he forgets about me, but he says he thinks about me and he would love to meet me. It's different when a 40 or 50 or 60-year-old says it versus someone over 70. That just makes me a little sad, and I do brighten his day by talking to him, but it's still a little sad to me because I think about you, and it just kills me. So it makes me really sad. I'm very happy that my diaper boys, my spanking boys, my caning boys have all gone away for now. These are the callers who call me on occasion with their wanting to either be diapered or diaper me or spanking themselves or caning themselves or having someone do that to them or wanting me to join them in real life. They've kind of been away. Also, the adult babies have been gone. It's interesting how these trends go away. They've been gone for a couple years now, and I have regulars, but they've kind of disappeared too. So it's interesting how they've all kind of at the same time disappeared. We'll see when and if they return or if there's something new to take its place. So speaking of new, a friend of mine asked me the other day if I have heard of something called a Green Bay Churner. I said no. She said to me, stay naive. Well, now she said that I have to look it up. To be perfectly honest with you, when I read the explanation of it, I don't believe it for one moment. But I will give it to you anyway as a parting gift. It says, a horrible multi-stage sexual act. In the first act, milk is procured from a lactating woman. Then the woman is anally fisted until she has attained anal width sufficient to receive the insertion of her own breast milk. Then she is ass fucked until the milk turns to butter. The butter is then extracted and served over toast. Now, after reading this, there are many different butter churners, and I'm not going to read any of the other ones to you. It's in the Urban Dictionary, and you can find out yourself. But the reason why I'm telling you that is since I haven't heard from my diaper boys or my spanking boys or my adult baby boys, I will probably hear about this particular thing next. I haven't heard it from a caller. This was from a friend of mine who thought I knew about it, so I will leave you with that. But one more thing. I will thank her for letting me know because that way when someone calls me, I won't be shocked and surprised. I could say, yeah, I know about that. I like getting hip to these things so that I don't sound like I'm not up on what's new. You can't be up on everything. My goodness. Anyway, thank you. I want to thank you for listening to Secrets from a Phone Sex Queen. Everything you always wanted to know about phone sex and more. Please reach out to me, like I said, with your questions and comments at phonesexqueen1@gmail.com. New episodes drop when they drop, hopefully every Monday or every other Monday. Check me out on Facebook at CJ's Podcast and Instagram at Phone Queen 1. If you're listening on YouTube, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you get notified when a new podcast is dropped. Until next time, stay sexy.